And scriptures on air.
Welcome, everyone, to a special episode of the FS On Air podcast. Looks like our boy Flash 205 is out sick. What a shame. But I've actually got a very special guest for y'all. We've actually got the writer of Sensational Spider-Man Redemption, DarthProteus, here to talk about his latest creation. Say hello.
Hey guys, what's going on? I gotta say, I never expected to be here right now, but it's really flattering. I gotta be honest with you. Can you understand that, right?
Oh no, yeah, totally. I totally get it. I'm really glad to have you on because it was such an unexpected thing when this was announced. Like we talked about this at the Green Meanies, and everyone was just like, "Holy shit! How is this possible?" And how did you do this? How long have you been working on this exactly?
Oh, well, this is actually a 1-year collaborative effort between me and what the whole cast actually. The executives really were a big help because I'd actually been working on this almost exactly from the day it was canceled until the end of last year. And actually, even up to a few days before it was aired, I was finishing it off, and it took me a long time. It's probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do, given that it was all pre-written, I did initially push for it to be live, actually.
Oh, you did? How did that go?
Well, at that point I'd already written an entire first act, so they were like, well, you might as well just keep going with the good thing you got. So I was just like, well, you know what, that's a good plan, might as well. And I think it turned out for the best. We let everyone in the cast edit their lines as best they could if they thought that they were a bit out of character, and we did manage to tweak some things in that regard, but I think it worked out for the best.
I would have to agree, to be honest. I think, Mr. DarthProteus, that you totally understood the point of these characters, and they're in a much better direction than what He Who Shall Not Be Named, of course, was going to do with them.
Oh yeah, Rad? Yeah, fuck Rad.
You heard it here first, folks. Mr. DarthProteus says, #fuck Rad, all my homies hate Rad.
Indeed, thank you. And I'm really glad everyone enjoyed it, by the way. I'm really grateful for everyone who sat down and watched it. I know it was like an all-day thing simply because I didn't have the time to stretch it out into 2 days, but with everything else we have going on, but I actually think it went pretty well, all things considered, and I never felt like it was tiring me out, really, to type all of it out, because I felt really exhilarated because I wanted to know what people would think about every scene, and in most cases that kept me going because people had very interesting reactions to every choice that I made, but I was really happy to know that they liked them all better than where they were initially going to go in that leaked episode 4 plot that everyone saw and was not enthused about, including myself.
Oh yeah, I saw that, and honestly, it felt like a waste of potential, wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah, no, I totally agree. That was a complete waste of the idea of him, having to go to jail, I had actually told him, what about an entire episode of this? This could be really compelling. And he was just like, well, we could, but we have to introduce Tony for the Iron Man show that he was making at the time that never really panned out, The sensational world was initially going to be the basis of an entire universe, but well, obviously that didn't pan out, and it seems like he just got way too focused in creating that whole. I'm talking about Rad, by the way. He was so concerned about creating this world that I think he forgot about making a good Spider-Man show. In a way, he sort of, in an ironic twist of fate, he became Avi Arad.
Well, that's quite an interesting description of him, but I can't say it's not accurate. What do you think your goal was with this film? What did you want to accomplish?
Well, I gotta say that I think my main goal was just to conclude the story in a way that made sense and didn't feel like it was leaving anything on the table. There were a lot of plot threads that the show, when it was canceled, left completely dangling. And I just wanted to right those wrongs, And there were some things that I simply didn't have the time to address. For example, early on, I wanted to have Sandman be a huge part of it, given that we never actually found out what happened to him after that one episode, but I just didn't have the time. So I suppose for all intents and purposes, Sandman is either dead or hanging around somewhere in the backwoods of the Sensational Universe, but you can think whatever you want to think about it. I don't really have a canon explanation for it, but I ended up making that choice because so much of the film was dedicated to making sure that Peter and Jackson Bryce had a believable relationship. That was one of the main things that I wanted to fix about the show, you know?
Oh yeah, I mean, well, I'm not going to address what the joke was simply because this is a PG-13 podcast, but it was not a very funny joke that he had Shocker make.
Oh no, Cage didn't want to make it either, but it was one of those things that he put into the script, you know. Brad really was kind of an asshole because he told us once in this chat that he wanted it to be a mixture of his bizarre sense of social commentary and, well, a show, which is kind of why you saw that Jameson joke that I also hope to have repaired with certain later scenes in the movie, and the part where he sneaks out at 7 a.m. and says he's going to a furry convention because what would you know, Rad hates fun.
Oh yeah, no, I totally understand, and I actually do think you fixed that Jameson thing. I saw other people in the discussion chat saying that it was redemption, if you will, for J. Jonah Jameson.
Oh, well, thank you. That was one of the main things I was really concerned about. When I was writing that whole scene, I was really thinking, how can I make this interesting? Jameson wouldn't just do nothing, even if he is kind of selfish in some regards. So I'm like, hey, why doesn't he work together with Spider-Man and he just smashes a coffee cup over his head?
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I thought that was it was really funny and touching to see him work together in that way.
Oh yeah, and when I wrote in him, wanting to take the bullet for MJ, I was wondering, is this what he would do? But considering that Jameson, after all, was the guy who wanted to help protect Peter from from when at the point in the comics that he had.
You mean when he revealed his identity, right?
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. He actually helped him in that particular storyline, a storyline that the MCU is adapting and will probably never touch on because it seems like they want to go the route of touching on the storyline where J. Jonah Jameson helps to create Scorpion, you know.
Oh yeah, no, I know that storyline.
And did you see that certain cameo that I inserted into that scene?
Oh yeah, some people I actually was surprised to see that in there, you know? Like not everyone expects that kind of level of integration of a cameo or a joke in your script. And it didn't even feel like one, it felt organic.
Thank you. That actually wasn't my original idea. I can't take credit for that. The execs, when I was writing that scene, they just ran. One of them said that, what if we had Sam from TFC in this? Because he's basically in everything now. He's kind of like this universal constant. He's even appeared in Starforger. And so I was like, yeah, that would be really great. So when I was writing it, I was already planning to have Sin Eater be his special henchman that shows up at the Daily Bugle to get rid of the people who are going to talk about him. So I thought, what about elite team of Sin Eaters?
A team, you say? That's an interesting choice. I totally think that.
Oh yeah, I thought it was interesting too, but I decided to just go with it, and I decided Sam would be one of them, and I just kind of went with the flow, and it just kind of happened.
Yeah, and I must say that at the end there, I thought it was you certainly had a lot of interesting references, like what I believe you referenced the special projects room thing, but sort of not.
Oh yeah, I actually wrote research and development into the script because I felt it would be a little too #rise of me to actually write that they were going down to the Special Projects Center. But the people who were there, they knew what I meant. They knew what I meant.
Yeah, no, I thought it was fine. I think you included the GF2, so that prevented you from having to say it.
Well, yeah, I actually made a bunch of GIFs toward the end there just so I wouldn't have to and write it into the script to illustrate the reference. It did it for me, and I think it mostly worked. And probably, I think one of the most subtle that I introduced into the scene, right before they jump off of like the building at the end, the "Do you trust me" thing. Chucky got it. I'm pretty sure he got it, but I don't know if anyone else did. But really, more important than that was just the ending as a whole. Let me talk about that. Do you mind?
Oh no, totally. I totally get it.
I really liked the ending because when I was writing, Chucky and Santa, they were like, "Hey, what if you try to present it from like this different angle? Like in the Raimi films, you just sort of see her on stage doing these plays, Mary Jane, and Chucky was like, what if you actually had him help her out with this play before he's sitting down and watching?" And at first I was like, wait, you mean like a whole... At first I wasn't going to do it because I was like, you mean like a whole scene of them like doing this, practicing this play before it even happens? And he was like, oh no, you really just need like just a minute or two of it. So I was like, yeah, I can make that work. So I just sort of have them doing it behind stage for a second, and I cut to them doing it on stage, and he's clapping, and I was really satisfied with that. I thought Chucky liked it, and of course they both liked it that I used Chucky's suggested play of choice. I must say, I'm not the best connoisseur of Broadway plays,
Oh yeah, I totally understand that. I can't imagine that there were many plays that you really could have chosen for a scene like that, other than the one that you did go with.
Oh yeah, a lot of them are written by Andrew Lloyd Webber. Fun fact, he wrote the one that I went with, Phantom of the Opera, and he actually did write Cats. When I was writing it, I was like, should I write that? And then I immediately just told myself no, because this is a serious movie, and even if the play is not as bad as the movie, that is just not a good idea. So I went with what they went with in terms of their suggestion, and I think everything went exactly as I was thinking onto the page. That's actually kind of how I think about most of my scripts in this way, but this one especially. And that rooftop thing at the end, I wanted to do a final swing, but like we've seen that a lot of times in movies. There was even one in TASM 1. But I didn't want that. I didn't want to take the same route as just having it be like not just a triumphant moment, but I wanted it to be like something you could feel with what the director was trying to get at.
Oh yeah, I totally get it, because like even in the Raimi films, they're pretty epic. The score is great when he does them, but they're basically meant to just feel they're meant to feel exhilarating, and in some sense you do, but it feels exhilarating because it feels almost like a roller coaster ride, especially in like the first one where the camera is following and swinging,
Yeah, no, I totally understand. That's exactly what I wanted to do differently from. Not that that's good. I just felt I should do something that's all me, baby. So I decided to have it be kind of like this kind of sweet, gentle moment, and I think it worked pretty good. Especially because the direct comparison when I'd actually written it out was sort of like the scene at the end of Far From Home. That's meant to be more like this funny, cute kind of scene, but this is more like resonant. It's more like concluding kind of scene, and I think that really worked the way that I wanted it to.
Man, I totally agree with you there. The ending is probably one of the best parts of it, Mr. DarthProteus, and I think that I actually think that it's entirely possible that a buddy of mine, when they were watching that, I think that they read the ending when they were overdosing on some JJ laughs, and I think they perceived the ending as a little more shitposty than they wanted.
Oh man, really? That's such a strange concept to me that you could perceive a serious ending in a way that's almost like what akin to a Yoda film, I guess is what you're talking about?
Yeah. So anyway, you seen that gangsta monkey video Spider posted the other day on General?
Oh yeah, I totally saw it. Here, pull it up.
Holy shit, Jamie, pull that video.
Oh well, I just realized we can't actually show the audience, but trust me, but behind the camera, it's he can vouch for me. It's pretty epic, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, 5 peak of humanities. Would JJ laugh again?
Thank you for your input. So another thing I wanted to ask you, Mr. DarthProteus.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that when you were airing it, that you were a little nervous?
Oh yeah, I was hella nervous. I wasn't really sure what people would think. I wanted it. There were so many things, like I told you earlier, that I had to do. It had to be, well, first of all, a good movie, a satisfying conclusion. It had to be epic, it had to be romantic, it had to be entertaining, but it also had to have a few funny moments in there for just to keep people from being a bit overwhelmed by how serious most of it is, because a lot of the film is either a gritty crime drama or kind of like an early 2000s Smallville-style Spider-Man movie. And I really liked that, but I just wanted to balance it all out, and I don't know, would you say that I did that? Because I'm still not sure.
Oh yeah, no, it totally worked. At some times you could probably argue that it was a bit of a jarring shift, but toward the end you totally stuck the landing in terms of balancing the shift between the two sort of tones you had there. It didn't feel like TASM 2, you know?
Oh yeah, because that movie has a, well, we're all hashtag rise in this server, of course, but if we're being honest here, if we're being totally honest, that movie has a serious tone problem because it's either this super serious, dark movie about organized crime and Oscorp and Donald Mencken and human experimentation and Peter's parents and a plane crash, or it's just characters fucking around with Peter Parker on, you know.
Oh yeah, I totally get it. That's the question. That's the question.
Oh yeah, I actually kind of like that scene. You know, it's kind of funny just hearing them read those lines. You know.
Oh yeah, no, I actually really enjoy that too, Mr. Darth Proteus. So just a few more questions. Let's go into the next one. I think it was a do you think that you'd ever do anything in the same universe after this?
Oh, well, I must say that, sadly, for anyone else who was hoping for that, no. I figured I could. It would be cool to, like, do another show or another movie after this. I had originally wanted it to be a two-parter, actually, simply because I wanted to be able to address the Sandman plot. I even wanted to address something that Rad never wanted to do, but that I was always pushing for, and a true adaptation of Ultimate Venom, because I always liked that. But I realized that that would kind of feel cheap to come back after a year of nothing, only to then just say, wait for part 2 after I've already just spent a year working on one of them, you know?
Oh yeah, no, I totally get that. That like it would be understandable, but would feel a bit underwhelming, you know?
Yeah, so I'm glad that I went with the choice that I made because it means everything's wrapped up in like this tight little bow, and nothing's left dangling plot-wise. Everything's concluded in a great way.
I'm really glad that you're proud of this project, you know? Like it sounds like you're really confident in what you've made.
Well, if you want me to be honest, I'm kind of I've been sweating this whole time talking about it because I like it. I just don't want to feel like I'm congratulating myself
Too much, you know? Oh no, what are you talking about? You're just fine. You're fine. You're fine.
Oh, thank you. I couldn't be more soothed by that compliment.
Anyways, there was actually one more thing I wanted to talk about that I don't even think you mentioned, if you don't mind.
Oh yeah, no, I totally agree. I actually don't think I can officially say when it happened because I realized it was done that I never addressed when it would be that he went to Spider-War. I thought about doing it in a post-credit scene, but I felt like that would accidentally make people believe I was teasing another movie. How he went from where he was to participating in Spider-War, you know?
Well, Mr. Darth Proteus, I guess my theory would be that somewhere in between that part where he's, you know, he's just come back into crime fighting and the start of the human experimentation stuff, that he's like, I don't know, I guess the portal just popped up in his apartment and he just hopped in or something.
You know what? That works. Can we just say that that's canon, Mr. Proteus?
Yep. Okay, and I actually, there was one more thing that I think I should ask you before I personally get into recapping some other stuff that's happened recently. If you don't mind.
Oh no, I don't mind at all. Ask away.
Did you ever think about using, I know I'm sad that you didn't, but did you ever think about using Dubstep Electro themes, from, you know, the one of the greatest films of the recent decade, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 in your movie?
Yeah, honestly, I could say that I did, but I realized that they just didn't fit the kind of Electro that I was making, you know? Like, their Electro was always meant to be like a deeply tortured version of it, even if, I mean, honestly, if I could take the whispering out of the dubstep music, it honestly wouldn't be that bad, if I'm being honest, but this is it's kind of like Lex Luthor, but he's also Electro in a way. he's Electro, he's insane, he's angry, but he's also a cold businessman who stops at nothing to get what he wants, you know?
Oh yeah, like I totally understand that. Especially it's obvious with the parallels, such as when he pulls a "I am the villain of the story" at the end when he almost trashes the antidote.
Oh yeah, I was actually really proud of putting that one in there because I thought it would be an obvious parallel already, but I just thought, you know what? Why not? It could be little epic funny, and people could just go, yay! I know what that is in the comments and stuff. So of course some people did, but I must say I will admit it wasn't perfect. The balance of like the references and stuff, it's got to be balanced, especially with the tone of this movie. I might have overdone it a bit with the the introduction scene of Hammerhead and Electro. Admittedly, I did rewrite that scene a couple times.
Yeah, because I did notice personally, Mr. DarthProteus, that there were some differences between the preview and what actually ended up airing for that scene.
Yeah, that was actually because Chucky helped me, God bless him, polish it up a few days or a day or two before we actually aired it, and it really helped a lot. And that scene was one of the things I had to tweak slightly because I wanted to set something up earlier, but I probably could have cut down on the references because there's at least 5 and they're just presented as normal lines of dialogue. So I do apologize for that, but I think I did okay for about everything else,
Yeah, no, I totally understand that, and I actually think that everything else is good, but I do ask, why were Al Pacino and why were Al Pacino, Hammerhead, and Mary Jane Watson not giving their interview in a Dunkin' Donuts, earlier in the film? Don't you feel like that's a missed opportunity?
Oh, shit, you're right. I totally could have done that, I could have done it without even ruining the tone. Like, there didn't even have to be any, like, blatant reference to it. Like, they could have just, like, been absentmindedly playing the song from the ad in like over the loudspeakers or something, and then just like nobody mentions it as if it's just totally normal.
That's a shame. I'd like to see that. Hashtag release the Proteus cut with that scene on like a bonus scene on a Blu-ray.
Yes. Maybe I'll put it in the PDF. We'll see. But in the end, I think that overall, I think I was able to, for the most part, interweave those references within a more serious script the way that I wanted to, and I think it worked.
Yeah, I think it has been too. It's been really good talking with you about this, by the way. I hope you don't mind. I should probably cap some other stuff that's been going on in FS lately, if you don't mind, just for a second, Mr. DarthProteus.
Oh no, I totally get that.
Yeah, so I should mention that Howard season 2 started recently, but I believe it's on hiatus temporarily. Can't wait to see that though, because it really is such a good show, and I think the last season was definitely a pretty unique thing. Can't wait to see more of it. Star Forger, of course, has been going strong. Just released a new episode. You know who you are. If you haven't watched it yet, go check it out. It's Kino. And of course, I believe that Poon has said that he's gonna be getting back to TBHC soon, which is that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And I also obviously Inferior Foes just finished Act 1. That's very exciting. Can't wait to see the end of that. Probably, it's probably one of the projects I've ever been able to have the most dumb fun with, so I really enjoy that. And Foes 3, that should be continuing as well this week, hopefully, and I think it's going to go some interesting places. Obviously, we've said that before, no need to recover that ground. Anyways, Mr. DarthProteus, I think that is all for today. I am glad that you have come to have this talk with us.
Oh yeah, no, I've been so glad to be here with you. I hope everyone enjoyed Sensational. I'll have that PDF ready soon because it won't take long. It won't take long, And yeah, thanks for having me.
Proteus?
Oh, Flash! What are you doing?
What are you doing? I was just recording the last episode.
I'm not doing anything.
No,
Are
you recording an episode without me?
I was just doing stuff.
Were you talking to yourself, you psycho? What are you doing?
Just get out!